Y'all, I tell you, that's the smoothest I've ever seen it done. I've been felt up by people put these things on. I didn't mind. Didn't mind at all. I was listening about that phrase, whether you're homeschool, church school, public school, private, whatever that phrase was, you know, as I came in. And I thought, well, what would we have done if we had had homeschooling when I was at Royal Webb Junior High School? And a relative of mine said, well, we don't send our child to the public school because they were beaten on it. And I thought, my God, that's why I went to public school. My brothers would have beaten me to death if I had stayed home for 12 years of education. I would have been beat into like a little greasy spot at the side of Roy Webb Road. What I'd like to do tonight, if it's okay with y'all, is I've said this before, and I actually mean it, is I'd rather talk with you than talk at you. So I'll talk a little bit about how I do what I do and why I do it, and but mostly I'd rather talk with you. So let's take advantage of our time and have some questions. And y'all all look like nice people, so you don't look like the kind of people that would leave me standing here. You know what I mean? So it is when you say it's a pleasure to be somewhere, I get the sneaking suspicion that a lot of people who write books for a living are lying. Because they're thinking, man, it'd be nice to be home watching football. You know. But the truth is, if it were not for Mobile Bay, it's one of those rich places. And by rich, I don't mean money. It's one of those rich places of readers. There's Mobile Bay, and there is New Orleans, and there is New York City, and there is San Francisco. There is Birmingham. There's my home county for me. It's the only place I know of where I can draw 750 people and 650 of them are third cousins. 1 degree warmer than it is in Tuscaloosa. Of course, things have been a little chilly in Tuscaloosa this year, if you know what I mean. And everybody in Tuscaloosa walking around like on air, just thrilled that we have beat Michigan State. Thrilled to death. We showed them, didn't we? Said, yeah, there ain't nothing like finding somebody you can beat, loading up and putting it on. But you don't talk about football at book events. You don't talk about religion. And you sure as hell don't talk about politics. I learned that the hard way. There's nothing quite like going to a book event, having half the people get up and walk out.
Did you have any qualms about using their real names and worrying about?
That question comes up a lot. The thing about memoirs is you only do memoir if you have something to say. I believe. I'll never forget, I was at a book talk and a woman raised her hand. And you can kind of tell when you're among your betters. You know? She raised her hand and she said, Mr. Bragg. Mr. Bragg. Y'all have to excuse me. I bought me some of them if you're a big man and you go buy clothes, it is never the joy. I mean, you know what I mean. There is no joy in clothes buys. And I was walking through the Belts or the JCPenney's, one or two of the finer establishments where I purchased my clothes. And I was walking through, and there, like a beacon, like angels were singing and trumpets were sounding, was a sign that said, jeans, comma, relax. And they had a waist that you get in and you can, you know what I mean? And you do like that. What they didn't tell me was that once they stretch out, it's like a race, you know, they run halfway. They don't come back to where you need them to be. So once they stretch out, you spend all night pulling them up. You know, so if you're going to change names, then just write a novel. Just go to town with it. Change everything. You know, if it's a fist fight, make it a knife fight. If it's put a midget in it somewhere. Have something, have everything. Have dancing girls and belly dancing. I love belly dancing. But as far as the names, if you don't want, if you think that naming someone is going to be too personal and too painful, then either omit the name, refer to them by identifying the cousin, the second cousin, the third cousin, so that readers will not know. You see what I mean? Family may know, but readers will not know. Now, it's the family, of course, we're mostly worried about. But I think that if you're going to commit a sin in memoir, then commit it in omission. If omitting, you can't just take someone out of the family, but you cannot mention it. I mean, if it's a brother or sister, it's impossible. But if it is someone a little more tangible, then I think what you can do is, am I sounding intelligent? Then what you want to do is you want to you ask yourself what it's worth. What is hurting that person worth? Most people, it's just your story, and you get to say, and you get to make that decision. It's the only place where the writer really assumes something other than responsibility for their own life. That you can hurt people. I have found that things you think are really going to hurt people don't hurt them nearly as much, and things that you think never would hurt them, wound them tremendously. My Aunt Grace and Juanita will look you right in the face and say, well, Ricky said that Daddy made liquor for 30 years, and I never remember Daddy making all that much. He made it for 30 years. If he made a quart a day, he made enough to float a battleship. They're pulling in their horns. What were once respected publishing houses, smaller respected publishing houses, have either gone out of business or not doing right by their writers. Basically, cheat, lying, and stealing. So, if you've self-published already, right? Then here's what you do. Get it in front of as many people as you can. By whatever means necessary. If you've got the money to spare to get it in front of people, just get it in front of people. Get it in front of reviewers. A reporter at Times-Picayune, New Orleans, self-published a collection of stories from Katrina, and a New York publisher saw it and said, hey, this is pretty good, and you know what I mean, and took it like that. But basically there is no key to the castle anymore. In the past, I just would have told you, write the thing, send it to as many publishing houses as possible, and roll the dice and see what happens. But it is meaner now, and I've had 4 books that made a piece of the New York Times bestseller list. You know, some of them pretty high up, some of them barely hanging on there, you know. And we've had some fairly well critically acclaimed books. And we've had one book sell in the hundreds of thousands. It is still not a sure thing when I go to my publisher with a book. It's still not a sure thing. That's how mean it is out there. Better judgment going to a university press to do most they ever had, which was not going to be a big commercial book. I went with McCadden Cage, which they published it and didn't pay for it. So that's what I mean about things being meaner than they've ever been. So, I mean, who figures? How in the world we do that? And so then the past, you know, we still have a contract with Knopf for another book. You know, they're still my publisher, and that's what I'll do. But I wasted a lot of time worrying and fighting over that. But here's the thing. The book came out, and it's a fine little book about the working people in the foothills of the Appalachians, and I'm very proud of it. So you ask yourself, was it worth doing for free? And you say, probably so. Probably so. But I've been writing books for a living. It's hard to not do it for a living. Which Southern writer was it? Sonny, who said, who said that?
He said, I'm like the young lady who once having been paid for it was averse to giving it away.
I'm just a big old